right. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast as ever, Lara.
How's it going? How's your tea?
It's good. It tastes terrible,
It's chamomile.
chamomile tea.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard that if you add it to rooibos tea or the vanilla rooibos tea, has a very powerful mixture to help sleep.
Okay, so we can plan that for next time and then you can sleep through the podcast.
Well, I think it's the chamomile that makes it sleepy, huh? Or not? I don't feel
I don't
sleepy after I
know.
have
Rooibos calms
vanilla
you
rooibos.
down. Rooibos has calming properties.
I need a lot of rooibos. But there's only so much tea one can actually drink.
Yes.
And so we're back on the podcast. Have you been enjoying the podcasting?
I've been enjoying it quite a lot.
Great.
It's nice to chat and hopefully offer some helpful things.
Yeah.
And hopefully today will be helpful as well.
Yeah, I think it will. I think, what we're going to talk about today is something we've actually very newly implemented. So it really is a work in progress, but we
Yes.
thought that we would share it because it's been helpful to us, I think.
Yes.
And if it can be helpful to us, hopefully it can be helpful to other people as well. And so we want to chat through something that we've learned recently called the couples sync. We learned this from, I think it's Dan and Renee Martel. They run
Yes.
businesses in Canada, and we found that they do this. Because of the busyness of life, I think it's so easy for for married couples to miss one another, miss the calendar, miss what's happening in each other's world, and actually just live past one another and not be intentional. So they do something called the couple sync, which is what we're going to do and what we've been doing. And it's really just synchronizing, making sure we're always in alignment, heading in the same direction. And I think it's been super helpful to have a meeting.
It's been very helpful, and what made me want to do it was the fact that they align everything to their values, and so they keep checking that they're still aligned with their values.
Yes.
And that makes them head in a certain direction
Yes.
and go where they want to go. So it's almost like a business meeting for your marriage, like a strategy meeting, a direction meeting for
Yeah.
your marriage. And that might not sound very romantic,
Yeah.
but if you want to build something that lasts, if you want your relationship to stand for something, then it's quite helpful to have the sync to keep checking what direction you're going in.
Very much. And what I've liked about it is that it actually forces us to have different conversations that we wouldn't have in the normal day to day. It's almost you have them every other, like once in a blue moon, or you running past one another and you go, oh, what about this? And oh, what about that? But it actually having a weekly meeting where we sit down, it has an agenda. There are certain things we speak through every time. And it's a non-threatening, non-judgmental, free to share environment, making sure that we're on the same path, same place, heading in the same direction. And we can celebrate with one another as well. And I think that's been really good, I think too often people just expect the other person to know where they are at, what they're going through. Some couples communicate a lot, some don't. But basically this forces us to communicate, in a sense, on the business of marriage, on the things that help the marriage work, and make sure that we're going to be intentional about it growing and blossoming into the future, right? So I think it's a really helpful tool. So would you what we'll do is we'll explain what we learned from the couple that we learned it from, and then go through what the agenda items are and what we kind of talk about. But when should people have it?
You should have it once a week, especially to talk through the calendar, the weekly calendar. And it should be at a distraction-free time, so not when the kids are around. Maybe later at night when they're asleep, or if you can go out for a coffee date, then take that time to have your couple sync. And there's a document attached to it, which is quite nice. You can share the document and then fill in some things before you have your couple sync, fill it in during the week so that you're ready for your meeting.
Yeah, that's right. We literally start and just work through the document. So we use a shared Google Doc that is attached to the calendar event that recurs every Friday for us. And it generally takes about an hour, I think, if not less. So for us, it's a great time to connect, and then we go through it. And we both have access to the Google Doc. It's in the calendar, so there's always an easy link and reference to it. And then, we just kind of start filling it out. And like I said, we're pretty new to it, but it's been helpful so far. So what are the things that we discuss in there? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Can I just say something before we continue?
items. Yeah.
This is not really a Christian-based, it's not like a faith-based document, but it's really, really useful and practical. And we've adapted it to reflect our values and the things we believe about faith and Jesus. And so we've made it our own.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Oh, there was something I wanted to mention about it. But as I was saying, we also share a calendar.
Yes.
So we have a family calendar, which I recommend every married couple or every family does, just so that things pop on the calendar, because you always forget to talk about it, and then it just shows up there. So it's super helpful. So the first thing we do, is we share 3 wins of the week.
Yes.
So what are 3 sort of highlights or 3 wins, 3 areas that you did well? And it can be absolutely anything. And what I like about that is it helps me to be grateful for what's happened in the week. Things, even if it's been a difficult week, there are still things to find.
Yes.
They go, oh yeah, this happened and this happened. And then I often find that once I get going, there's more wins that come through, and that's great.
Yes.
And I love hearing about your wins as well, so then I
Yeah.
can celebrate them with you.
Yeah. And I love this introduction to the couple sync because it puts it on a positive note. And sometimes life gets so busy that during the week we don't share these wins with each other. And so to find out about them at the end of the week it's such a happy event. It's like, that went well for you. That's awesome. And yeah, it's nice to
It is good.
find out more
Yeah.
about what
I don't
happened.
think this tea is going to be on the win list, but I am finishing it. Okay, I am finishing it. So we share 3 wins, and obviously, again, in the document, you could write those wins down in advance if you're more organized than we are, for instance. The next one is probably one of the scariest ones we'll do, and that is we do a role rating, okay? And we pretty much give a rating out of 10 based on how each other have fulfilled our roles in the marriage, but also in alignment and accordance with our vision and values and our mission, right? Mission statements. And so we give it's always scary, like, what rating am I going to get, and what rating am I going to give? And it really comes down to how have you showed up that week as a spouse. And it's the only thing we're allowed to say to one another is thank you. It's not, we can't get defensive. We can't give reasons why something happened, even if I want to. It's just to acknowledge, okay, that's how you felt. Great, thank you so much. And then we try write it down and write the thing down that is maybe causing us to get a lower or higher rating, so we can work on it for the following week. What do you say about the raw rating?
Well, I like it because sometimes resentments build up during the week, where you think this person is not showing up, they're not helping me, they're not doing what they need to do. But then at the end of the week, you clear it all up and you say, this wasn't so great, but next week we can work on it.
That's really good.
So you keep like a short list of what's happening.
Yeah, I think you've called me out on a phone habit that I was looking at my phone a lot in the evenings. And that's just to go, you know what, okay, cool. So I don't know if I'm any better, but it's certainly something I'm thinking about. I think the other day I put my phone in the cupboard just to try and get away from it. But yeah, just stuff like that. And it's not for belittling person. It's really to learn and grow and make sure that, like you were saying, resentment doesn't build up, bad habits don't build up. If someone's been, and I think sometimes there are reasons for it, like maybe you've got a lot on your mind, but I think it's important that that's not the excuse, but that is just maybe self-awareness. I think is what it builds in, the self-awareness, which I think is important.
And you gave me a lower rating recently because I wasn't paying attention to shopping the groceries.
Yeah.
And it made me think, okay, let me put more effort into this. And so I've tried to improve.
Yeah.
So it's just it's quick feedback can lead to quick changes and quick results.
I always remember what I think Marinette Van Coller said. It was that feedback is the breakfast of champions. So I think it's helpful for us to have that continuous feedback, because it does get quite personal and hurtful if you get feedback every couple of months and it's not and then it blows up into a fight. I think this way is a way of having it and then going, okay, cool, we don't have to fight about it, we can just work through it. The next thing is we've actually got we have a look at our core values. We evaluate how have we showed up for our vision, how have we showed up for our mission, how have we showed up for our core values, what are the things that we are trying to own together, not just you and me, but we've also included Samuel, our son, into it, and he added something in there as well. We don't have him in our meetings, but he added to our family vision, values, and mission. And so we just read through that document, and then we go, like, how have we showed up to these things as a family? So the vision is, what do we see the future? What is the future of our family? What do we see there? What's important to us there? Our mission is, what are we called to do as a family, right? What is the work that we're trying to do? And then our values are, what are important for us? What are the things that we're trying to build on? What are the things that we're trying to show up as our best self, so that we can bring these things to our family as well as people around us?
So we had to sit down and spend quite a bit of time trying to discover and list our vision, mission, and values. And it was quite a process. So before we could start with the couple think, we had to start with that.
Yes.
So we knew where we were going, because it's all about where you're going, what you want to build with your family.
Yes.
And if you don't know where you're going, life is so busy, you're just going to end up not doing anything as a family. But if you know where you're going, you can build towards that.
Absolutely. And in fact, the couple that we learned this from, what they do as a practice is they review their vision and their goals as a family every quarter as well. So if that's something that you're into, but certainly I think starting out simple is the win, and then you can always add to it and change it as you go. Did you want to share what they were?
Yeah.
Okay, you can read them out. Just as an idea, like.
This is not.
It's not for everyone.
This is not a formula.
Yes.
You have to decide what you want to do in your marriage and in your family.
Exactly.
But I just want to give you an example so that you have food for thought and you have somewhere maybe you can start from there.
Brilliant.
So our vision for our family is to celebrate 50 loving years of faithful marriage. So we'll be 70 when we
71.
We'll be 71 when we celebrate 50 years of marriage. So we want to reach there, and we want them to be loving years.
Yeah.
Then when Samuel leaves home, he still wants to be around us. We want him to want to come back and visit us. And then our vision, final part of our vision, is to love Jesus and love his church. And then the mission, so how do we do this? We follow Jesus and joyfully build his church, and we add value to others. And our values, what is important to us. We pursue physical, mental, and spiritual health. We grow and help each other grow. We have an intimate relationship with Jesus. We build the church. We take responsibility for who we are. We submit to God's word. We are kind. We lift others up. We show up in each other's important moments and spend quality time together. We build friendships and we bring our best. And these things are important to us, but we haven't managed to implement all of these things. We've just started pursuing physical health. It's been a year-long journey.
Almost a year.
So we knew at that, but we're trying. And another thing we want to improve on is building friendships. So it's important to us, but we haven't always spent so much time building friendships, but we want to do that in the future. So we added it to the list.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, again, it's just giving us a guideline, like how are we showing up in these things? Is it actually something we're pursuing every time? So we are seeing that every week and making adjustments where we need to.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we discuss is our finances. Okay. And our finances, it looks like, because my role to make sure that we capture all of our spending so that we can look at how our spending is in relation to our budget. Sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it looks terrible, but we just make sure that we're on the same page financially, that we know where we need to adjust, what are the financial decisions and steps we need to take in relation to what we've done so far. And depending on where you are financially, that might need more or less attention. But I think certainly to be trained on where we are financially, be on the same page financially. Because again, like finances is one of the things that drives couples apart. So it's got to be a place where we've got to find common ground, unity, and purpose in direction. So we do that. So we don't go through the budget on a Friday necessarily, but we will scan through it and just check where things are good, where things aren't or not good. Then the next thing we discuss is what are our travels and activities looking like? What is our calendar looking like? I think it's more like a couple of weeks and months in advance. So if there are events that we've got planned, then we've got the dates in there, we've got the times in there, who's going to be where. So if it's an event that both of us are part of, we put it down. If it's one person's a part of it, the other person's not, we put it down. And then just so that we also know if we need to find a way of babysitting or something like that. So it's just giving a longer forecast of going, okay, this is it's tentative or it's set. Do we need childcare? Is it going to overlap in any way with anything else that's important? And it really is just to simply keep us informed of what's happening in our family life. So simple, quick, easy, like a family holiday is in there, that kind of stuff. Then the next one is we have issues to be discussed. So if there's any concerns or issues that we want to talk about, I actually just try pop discussion points in here during the week. If there's something I remember that I need to talk to you about, I just add it in advance, because sometimes you want to have that conversation, but it's you're in passing, and then the moment you sit down, you want to talk about it, you've forgotten about it. So just adding it to here as a discussion point definitely helps me to make sure that, hey, are we on the same page with these decisions? Can we resolve this? Can we make a decision on a certain point? And then it gives us a dedicated time to talk about it.
And sometimes you can't talk with people around or your kids around, but then you know that you will remember that for the couple's sake if you've written it down.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last one is what's our calendar for the next week looking like, but most specifically, what is the weekend looking like? So what are the plans for the weekend? What are we trying to protect over the weekend? Where are the specific family time that we're going to have? or are we, or is there a season, or is there a time where maybe I have to study or work or something like that? And so we just make sure that we're on the same page for what needs to happen over the
Yes.
weekend, so that we make sure that we're spending time with family and not just spending time with other people, and that there's a good balance over the weekends,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Anything on that that's been helpful to you?
I think, yeah, it's been good to sync our calendars over the weekend and to make sure that, because some weekends are just so busy we don't spend time together, but to make sure it's not always the case.
Yes.
That, a couple of weekends don't go past where we haven't had some
Yes.
good family time.
Yeah, we had quite a robust discussion at our last couple sync about a weekend that we were having,
Yes.
and of like, why is there not enough family time in here? And actually, the way that it worked out accidentally over the weekend, it was that there was plenty of family time, which I was really, really grateful for.
Yeah.
And again, I think, you know what it is? It's just us trying to be intentional. And I think if more couples would have these kinds of conversations, I think there would be a lot of the arguments would actually get resolved in it before they blow up.
Yeah.
There can be disagreement, there's robust conversation, but at least we're working on a plan together. And I think what I hope is that, hey, if other couples can learn from it, implement something like that,
Yes.
I think you deal with issues quicker, you'd have a clear plan into the future, and you would guard your values well.
Yes.
And become the kind of people you're aiming to become.
And what I like about it is that, vision, mission, and values are kind of buzzwords. And it sounds so cool to formulate it, or maybe you have a dream board as a family, or however you plan where your family is heading. But then you forget about it as life happens. But by having a couple sync, you keep reminding yourself of your values and where you're going and what you want to achieve, until it becomes ingrained in you.
Yes.
And you know why you're doing the things you're doing.
I can imagine some people listening to this going, what? That's way too organized. That's way too structured. Let's we just live for the moment, week in and week out. And I mean, honestly, that's my kind of personality. I like, just being flexible and unstructured. But I find myself that when we live that way, you feel free, but actually there's always this thing in the corner that's unspoken, that's bothering you. Or it's a case of 10 years have flown by.
Yes.
And we're in a similar position than what we were.
Yeah.
And so I think a little bit of intentionality, like that, I love the verse, without vision, people perish. And I mean, there's a lot of different takes on that verse and in the way it is in different translations as well. But basically the thing is, if you don't have vision, if you don't have a direction, then any decision sounds like a good decision. But when you have a framework for decisions and a framework for how you want to show up as a family, I think that it makes decisions way easier, to know that, hey, this is actually where we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
So if this decision competes with that, then it's a no. If it complements it and adds to it, then it's a yes. And I think that's helped. It's helped me. It's helped us. Or even in just some of the decisions we've made lately. So yeah, I think it's great.
And what I want to do in the future is, Friday night is often our family night. And then to sit down with Samuel and say, how did it go this week? Because we've chatted to him and included him in it.
It's true.
So we can say, are you building your life on this? Are you making friends? Are you pursuing physical health, mental health, spiritual health? And actually break it down for him in a way that he understands.
That's
and
brilliant.
In a way that is practical for him. So yeah, spiritual health. I mean, what does a kid know about spiritual health? But we can say, your spirit man inside needs to be growing.
Yeah.
So you need to be reading your Bible.
Yeah.
How has your Bible reading gone this week?
Yeah.
And to really show him at his level what he is doing for the values.
That's really good. Yeah. Because we've all agreed on it. So we're all holding ourselves accountable to it so that we can bring our best. And I just love that. I think that's going to be such a great idea. I look forward to that. Cool, guys. Well, I think that's pretty much all we have for this episode. It's going to be a short one, but hopefully it's helpful to you. If you have any questions please just drop them in the comments, and we'll get back to you however we can. If it's been helpful, let us know. If you've got any questions about a couple sync or what, I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. I keep being reminded of that German. Like there's a vessel going down in German waters, and they on the radio they say we're sinking, and the guy's like, what are you sinking about? I just keeps hitting my mind every time. But anyway, on that note, have an absolutely amazing day. Share this with someone if you think it might be helpful to them. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.